Okay, hi and welcome to Sony Distorti. As you can see, all the whole staff is here.
Yeah,
so
thanks for having
glad
me.
to have you here once again in Italy.
Yeah,
how are you
it's
doing?
great to be. Awesome, really good. Having a great time so far. It's good to be back in Italy. We've always had a good reception here, so it's good to be back. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the second time we see you in less than a year, basically, in Italy. It was less than a year ago that you came here playing in Ravenna, I guess.
I think that was
Or maybe
18 months ago.
Yeah,
maybe?
less than a year ago,
Yeah.
more or less. So how do you feel like coming back to Italy once again?
Yeah, it's great. It's always been good here. We always have a really good reception, passionate fans, and great crowd responses. So it's always fun, really fun. Yeah.
Well, the latest album that the band has released has gained a lot of success and a lot of enthusiastic feedback from both the fans and the press. So what kind of appraisal can you make about the album, since it was well received?
Yeah, I think we had a different method to writing this record. And I think that shows with the result. It's a very different sounding record. We went to a different person to mix it in Mark Lewis. Instead of doing Jens Bogren from Scandinavia, we went to Mark in America. And that made a really, really big difference to our overall sound. And the style of writing that we chose to write the album was a little different. We did a lot of... it was quite interesting when you think of it, because some songs were written in a few days and we were all together writing, and then other songs took months and were apart and emailing and stuff like that. And
File sharing, basically.
Yeah, basically. And I think that we're really happy with the results. The album we kind of wanted to do, so we're really happy that people also enjoy it. Yeah.
Well, since you mentioned one of my favorite producers ever, Jens Bogren, what can you tell me about the experience you have shared with this amazing producer?
Yeah, he's obviously incredible at what he does. He's really, really good. I think he did an excellent job on our first two records, especially considering we were such a new band, and I don't think he's mixed anything that's, I guess, extreme with violin and stuff like that, so I think he did an amazing job. He got all the details, managed to be audible and heard and stuff like that, and he was very easy to work with, very professional, and a super nice guy, so it was really easy and pleasurable.
Okay, talking about the obliviscaris, we can say that the band have become accustomed from 10 years now to a very distinctive sound, if we can say so. For example, you have introduced the use of violin. So we can say that this kind of sound is pretty different from the sound we are used to. Yeah. So I would like to ask you something about, the birth of the band itself. So how did you come up with this kind of mixture?
Okay, well, Zen, our vocalist, I guess, formed the band, and from the very beginning he wanted some strings involved, whether it was violin, or I think even at one point he thought he might get a cello player, and it just so happened he met Tim, who plays violin, and they just kind of, I guess, had very similar ideas and tastes, and it just blossomed from there, basically. So the violin has been there since pretty much day one, and we really enjoy that addition. It's something really different. It's a lot of fun to play with, and it creates very interesting dynamics and textures in the music. That's a lot of fun to play around and play with. So we all enjoy that, the strings in the music. It's really cool.
Well, as you said, this kind of sound is kind of peculiar in some way, since you use the violin. So I would like to ask you, since it's kind of different from, as I said, from the classic genre, well, the classical metal we are used to.
Yeah.
How do you approach to, compose your own songs?
Yeah, so sometimes it varies. Like sometimes two of the guys will get together and write a large portion of a song, and then they'll bring it to everyone else, and we give some input, or change some things, or add some things, or take some things away. Or other times we're all just in a rehearsal room and just something happens, or other times we're just emailing riffs to each other, or ideas, or On the odd occasion, I'll introduce a drum beat or a drum rhythm or something rhythmic or percussive, and the guys will ride over that. One thing I really enjoy about this band, it's a very global input from everyone. Like we basically don't finish a song, or we don't decide that we're going to record a song unless everyone's really happy. So we basically make music that we all enjoy and have fun playing, and then we go from there. So if someone really dislikes something, we'll either work on it or scrap it or change it or something until everyone's really happy with that product. And basically, yeah, it does vary a lot from online sharing of music with each other and ideas, or if we're all together. Like we ride on tour quite a bit now because it's having someone from Italy and France, and it's really hard to have everyone in the same place. So it's an interesting, but I think it works and we all enjoy it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, talking about lyrics, where do you draw the inspiration to write the lyrics for the album?
So Zen typically writes in a fashion where he likes the listener to take away.
He's such a peculiar guy.
Yeah, their interpretation. And if you ask him, he will say, because he writes all of the lyrics, he will say that he draws his inspirations from normally life experience, or a lot of abstract, I guess, things, or things he's gone through in life, and I guess it's his interpretation in a lyrical sense. So he basically writes lyrics without a particular concept or idea in mind. It's more so if you read the lyrics and you're listening to the music and you can take something away from that, then that's pretty much what it is, basically. Yeah.
I know it may sound kind of maybe a tricky question, but how much of yourself plays an important role in writing music for Ne Obliviscaris?
Yeah, okay, so it's probably the most important thing, I guess, because that's something we all try to do as best as we can, is just be ourselves. And the instrument is just an extension of your own self, I guess. So we just try to be ourselves and write music that we all enjoy and all have fun to play. And so being yourself is very important, I think. We don't try and fit into any, I guess a label or a categorization. We don't want to try and be a death metal band, and we're not trying to be a black metal band or anything like that. We're just whatever happens, happens. So that's one thing that's really cool about that band.
Okay. Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong for what I'm going to tell you, but if I'm not mistaken, one of your songs have been used in a lessons for a music conservatory, which is a great result for a metal band nowadays. So how do you feel like having achieved this goal, if we can say so? Yeah,
it was very humbling, I guess, when I found that out. It was very interesting, and I was, I guess, amazed that they would consider such a piece of music to be studied in a curriculum, so it was very humbling, and I'm still not sure what to think about it, really. I can't imagine a group of students with a professor, analysing some heavy metal and stuff like that, but I guess the song they did was And Plague Flowers the Kaleidoscope, and it has a lot of different dynamics going on, a lot of odd time signatures. There's like some Latin feel stuff going on, and there's some polyrhythmic rhythms going on, and there's some odd time signatures, all that sort of stuff. So I guess from a theoretical point of view, there would be some interesting things to look at, but it's still very humbling to I guess have that happen. Yeah, it's very cool.
This episode reminds me something, about Sabaton, which, their songs are used in classes for, history lessons. So they kind of remind me of that episode somehow.
Yeah,
but it's always so humbling, as you said, being introduced to this kind of experiences.
Have people study your music. It's very, very humbling for sure.
Yeah. So talking about touring, as we said, you're here in Pavia today, and you're sharing the stage also with an Italian guy. And that's an amazing news. So
yes, it is.
Do you want to share something about this guy? Since we already know that guy, since he plays in an Italian band called Ancient Bards. So how do you feel like sharing the stage with this guy?
It's very fun. I don't think we could have asked for a better situation for us. His personality is or I really am attracted to his personality. He's awesome. Super fun guy. He's an excellent bass player. Very good musician.
A very humble one, if I can say.
Yeah, totally. And he fits in extremely well to our the whole group of us, and we do a lot of touring, so that's really important that everyone has an understanding of each other and when to leave each other alone and when to mess around and all that sort of stuff. And he has a very good. He just fit in very quickly and very easily. So I can't say enough good things about him. Actually, he's a very good person. Yeah.
Well, talking about live gigs, I had the chance to see you live a couple of years ago when you supported Cradle of Filth, which is one of my favorite bands ever.
Awesome. Yeah.
So when I saw you live on stage, I was kind of impressed because I was like, wow, this band really rocks. And I can say that seeing you live is kind of, how can I say, it's like living how can I say a spiritual experience.
Okay, cool. Yep.
So let's think of somebody who would like to see you on stage but never had the chance to see you live before. So what should people expect from the obliviscaris live on stage?
Okay, yeah. We really enjoy the live element of our music. I know a lot of people may prefer recording or they may prefer live or something. We very much enjoy both, and we think it's a very important aspect to bring the recorded element in the live scenario and replicating that as best as we possibly can. So, executing all the notes at a really high level and giving a lot of energy, and I guess when you play songs a lot, you kind of change little things too, which we actually do a little bit as well from the records, tiny little details, and which we think give more impact live. So, for someone who hasn't seen us before, I'd like to think that our live performance is much, I guess, a little bit more powerful than the record, simply because everyone's so passionate about the execution side of the music as well. And to say it's, I guess, a spiritual experience would be a humbling thought, because we do put a lot of ourselves into the music. So for that to convey live is really cool that people pick that up. It's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, as I said at the beginning of our chat, you had several chances to come here in Italy and play live in front of people.
Yep.
So, is there any related a nice memory of the Italian people you would like to share with us?
Yeah, one thing that's really struck out to me is how enthusiastic and passionate the Italian fans are. They're very enthusiastic. Like when we're packing up gear at the end of a show, everyone wants to talk and have photos and autographs and hang out and stuff, and we're very open to that as well. So it's really nice to see people first of all really enjoy the music and be passionate about it, whether they're dancing or whatever they're doing, and then wanting to communicate with us afterwards. Even though there may be some language barriers sometimes, there's still, you can sort of get what they mean. They're very in love with what you're doing, which is super cool, and I guess that's why we're here, because people love what we do in Italy. So yeah, we're extremely humbled and grateful for that.
Okay, well, as I said earlier, your latest album was released last year.
Yep.
So how would you relate that album to your musical growth, since the obliviscaris keep on evolving album by album?
Yeah, I definitely think this is the Earn was the album that we all wanted to do at that period of time. We didn't really set like a goal or a direction or an aim, but I think once we sort of took a step back and had a look at all the demos and stuff that we'd be writing, we're like, okay, we're definitely in the right direction here, and everyone felt really good about the album. So in terms of saying where it stands as we are now, I'd say it's a very good representation of where everyone was when we were writing that album between 2 years and 1 year ago. And we're all very happy and proud of that album. So I think and again, the next album's going to be completely different. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen next. We've already started some writing and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
cool.
yeah, it'd be really cool to see what happens.
Okay, so what's actually brewing for the band right now?
What's brewing?
Yeah.
We're still going to be touring off of Earn for a while, and we basically write music whenever we have opportunities to. So, for example, for a day off on this tour, we might write some stuff, or at sound check sometimes we just get inspired and someone's playing a riff and then all of a sudden everyone's joining in and stuff like that. So over the next 12 to 18 months we'll just be writing here and there with no set, goals or anything like that. It'll just happen, and then we'll go into the studio after that, whenever that may be. Yeah.
Okay, so, well, this was my last question, so thanks for your time and for having given us this spot.
Yep.
So, as our tradition wants, we call the interviewee to share the final words, so if you want to look at the camera and show them something.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Very grateful for the experience, and thank you very much especially to the Italian fans. You guys are so good to us, so thank you.